Hello everybody. For this video, I would like to continue on the other stream of the videos, such as narcissism and psychopathy, in discussing the last and third part of the dark triad personality traits. This one is Machiavellianism. Machiavellianism is a little bit set aside from the others because while the others do show a lot of overlapping tendencies, Machiavellianism specifically has its own uniqueness to it. So, for example, while psychopathy, the main thing in psychopathy is I have a lack of remorse. In narcissism, it's a lack of empathy. With Machiavellianism, it's an absence of morality. So there's no moral standard or ethics to them. And they can kind of overlap hand in hand because part of the dark triad, the reason why they're clustered together is because they do things at the expense of humanity, at the expense of other people. People fall victim when crossing paths with any of these people, whether it's a psychopath, a narcissist, or a Machiavellianist. Machiavellianism has a centered main word, and just like how narcissism is all about the ego and psychopathy is all about the callousness, when it comes to someone with Machiavellianism as a personality trait or demeanor, the main key word here is exploitation. So Machiavellianist people are a little bit more like a little bit more of a take no prisoners kind of individual. That's a little bit more what they're focused on. There's a little bit more of to each their own kind of mentality to it, if that makes sense. So to put it into light, a couple of the things that are really main with Machiavellianism is this. There's a fixation on power with them. So while it is very good to have ambitions, like the rest of us, we need to have ambitions when it comes to achieving our goals or when it comes to day-to-day life or to have an overall healthy and positive outlook in life. That's what the typical individual can carry, and that's what the typical individual is capable of. But with someone with Machiavellianism, the ambition is blinding to them. So that ambition that they carry blinds them to others. So it's a little bit like a narcissist in that sense, but it's not feeding the ego. It's feeding the power that they have, some sort of dominion over other people. And that's when it's a little bit more exploitative and there's no morality, because they will do whatever it takes, regardless of who gets in the way or who doesn't. They will do whatever it takes to get them from point A to point B. And there won't be any regard. They'll just be exploitative about it. They'll throw people under the bus with them, so to speak, or have scapegoats lined up, if that makes sense. They have a genuinely cynical worldview. So more so than seeing the gray areas in life like we all do, or when it comes to winners and losers in life, for example, the typical person will be able to see different elements to that. They'll be able to see that, okay, well, it wasn't this person's strength, or it wasn't this person's time, or maybe the shortcoming happened because of this, or maybe it was just an unfair judgment or something. Well, a normal, typical personality would be able to rationalize that and be able to empathize with that and be able to see the different many layers that are complex to each individual in their processes through wins and losses. With this person, they're very like, no, there's either winners or losers in this life. There's no in between. There's no excuses, winners or losers. And it takes on a very cynical view because these people are exploitative with others and they want to obviously be the winner within that. So they'll make sure that they create those losers around them, and in order to make themselves win, if that makes sense. So they'll step on a person's back, like a person will, like, to put in a visual, there'll be a person, they'll push them over, they'll step on their back in order to get over that wall, rather than climb it up the way that other person was trying to do it. They'll step on that back to get over that viewpoint, to be able to see over that wall. And that's why it's exploitative. They also have a willingness to, again, exploit others. They have a willingness to throw people under the bus. They have a willingness to turn people in, or not like snitch, where like you're trying to turn someone in for doing the wrong thing. No, they'll do whatever it is to rule in their favor. So they can over exaggerate things to make themselves look good, if that makes sense. Like rather than inflating their ego like a narcissist would, they will put someone else down to make themselves look good, if that makes sense. So rather than inflating it, they will put everybody down in the flames just so that way they're the ones left standing within all of that. They have a ruthless, self-centered desire to conquer. So again, it goes back to that like power-hungry hunt that they have, and they want to conquer whatever it is that they're after. They want to reach up to the top, and it's not to be confused with an ambitious person or a hustling person, someone who's like in the hustle of it, trying to achieve their goals, trying to strive through it. It reaches from, while I know a lot of ambitious people who may be watching this can understand it too. When they are trying to reach their goals or when they're trying to accomplish something, think about an experience that you've had where you have had someone who's so vicious amongst that, who's so competitive amongst that, who is really, really, really throwing people in the undercarriage to get there, who are like just not regarding the fact that this is a little bit more of, while it is a competition or while there is some sort of power play, these people aren't regarding the little elements to it or being human about it, if that makes sense. They're being very awful to other people within it, and they want to conquer it above and all. They want to put that flag on the top of the mountain, and they'll let people fall on the way down, if that makes sense. And this kind of can overlap with narcissism. This trait is that they're a gaslighting machine. So while narcissists make people feel bad about themselves or make people second guess themselves or second guess their own perceptions, the way a Machiavellianist will gaslight is they'll make them feel like they're not good enough, or they'll throw them in the back, or they will warp situations to put these people in the shit end of the stick. They'll have the shit end of the stick at the end of it all, if that makes sense. So their gaslighting tactic is a little bit more different. It's a little bit more deceptive and manipulative. So another big thing to remember with a Machiavellianistic person is that, to sum it up, will be that they have a very calculating nature to them. So their moves, their plans, their ways to exploit other people are very calculative. There's a very careful execution to it all. It's less impulsive, it's less explosive. It's more calculating and timed and perfectly planned to get themselves to their goals while leaving other people within all of that in mercy, at their mercy, to just gain that power and that dominion over them. So Machiavellianistic people are very deceptive and manipulative to reach their goals, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be in relationships, or whether it be in everyday life. They're very calculating, they're very deceptive, and they're very manipulative to make things go their way. And not in the sense to serve their ego, but in the sense to exploit others, and in the sense to get them to the top. And not because they are self-centered to feel good, but because they're self-centered in the sense that they want to have power. It's all about power hunger with these people. And it's to that unhealthy level where, you could see it a lot in, I won't go into specifics, but for example, whatever your political outview may be, you can see it in any political spectrum or any political atmosphere. There is a power play going on there. There are power trips amongst it. So I think politics can be a very, very good topic in which you could see these traits kind of take the spotlight, if that makes sense. So Machiavellianism is that third part in that dark triad. And the dark triad overlaps a lot with a few of the traits and their characteristics and their criteria because of the fact that It's a dark part of a personality. It's the dark personalities out there that are willing to put other people in the back burner and are willing to do things for themselves while completely dismissing how it affects others. So, the key things to tie it all in together: psychopaths, no remorse; narcissists, all about their ego, self centeredness; Machiavellianists is all about manipulation. They like to manipulate and kind of play people and situations like a chess piece to serve in a way that'll give them all the power over situations and over other people. So I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope this Dark Triad series has proven entertaining or informative in whatever sense that you needed it as. And feel free to share it. Thank you for your support, and thank you for watching. Have a good mental health day.